So me and my sister, we are on a mission to sort of protect our local dogs here. I don't know if you can see. One second, I'll try to. Oh shit! Okay, we can't. Um, but this one's a really nice, really loyal dog.
हेलो सोनम मैम ऐसे बोलो
So this one is my own. He's mixed. He's half lab, half Hindi. Very naughty, very ferocious, very moody. As we all know, the last couple of months have been extremely hard on the world, really. And as an artist, I have been very fortunate to be able to find a form of creative expression and express a lot of my anxiety and fears and insecurities, perhaps a lot of the negative emotion that sort of tends to find a way inside of me through the expression. So what we've been trying to do here is actually trying to salvage and save a lot of these dogs, a lot of these stray dogs that change territories during mating season. And what's been happening is that a lot of people don't pay attention to them, so they starve and sometimes they die. I mean, there are a lot of NGOs and there are a lot of organizations that claim that they take care of these stray dogs. However, when you call them, they're never really there. So we decided, me, my family, my sister, she's here from another city during quarantine. So we decided that we're going to do this sort of trying to clean up one corner of the world by protecting our local dogs, and that's essentially what we're doing. So, and you'll see a lot of that in the footage along the way. Apart from that, there's another cause that we're sort of associating with, and that's to protect and to uplift and to bring about food and basic, living necessities for orphans here in Delhi. So there is an organization that looks after a lot of orphan kids, differently abled kids and adults, and we try and arrange and mobilize funds for them so that they are able to take care of these kids during quarantine, especially after the pandemic. There is no proper organization that kind of promises that they will be safe and secure. So a lot of people who come forward and help, it's really up to them and how they save these kids. So there are a lot of things that are happening here. It's just how you get involved and how you make yourself feel a little better by bringing about a certain change. You try and think that you're making a difference, which you are, but you don't have to really brag about it or think about it. Just keep doing what you do and just go along. And yeah, more on that soon. I think that's one sunny side of being an empath. It gives you a lot of satisfaction. It gives you a lot of the service, the service part of, when you are actually doing something really noteworthy, you feel significant, you feel good. A couple of artworks that I've included here for this project actually mean a lot to me, even though they've been created at various sort of timelines in the last couple of months, but they have a lot of relevance when it comes to times today. Now, one of them is obviously the COVID mandala, which is just battening around a woman wearing a mask. It's basically to obviously honor and to pay due respects to the the healthcare professionals, the healthcare heroes, and our frontliners. Obviously, if that was the intent when I came up with that artwork, which is very intricate, as you can see. A couple of other artworks, obviously, are a lot more subconsciously driven as opposed to just knowing what to draw. So I sit with a pen and a sheet of paper, obviously, and I tend to draw something, and then it transpires and transforms into something completely different. However, I also think of it as a form of a therapy, because art is a lot of your it is a lot of your debris, your mental, your emotional debris sitting inside, and bothering you somewhere, which finds a way through this flow state. And when I happen to be in that state, when I happen to be doing what I'm doing at that moment, it just automatically flows. And I don't know what's happening and who's drawing, through me as an instrument, but something of an outpouring happens along the way, and that process is something that I really like to indulge in, and I'd suggest that most people do that when you feel a little bogged down by life, because it really puts you in touch with something. It's very therapeutic, it's very meditative, it's very calming. So most of the art, even though you might see the complete opposite on paper, because a lot of people who've been looking at my art and scrutinizing my art tell me that it's very dark, though it's not. I don't think of it as dark. So, for example, a couple of artworks that I'd sent, and one of them I happen to call Time. It's like a time face machine, and it's called Time Zoned, and it looks a little bit like this. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm sure it's going to be more visible on the screen. It's what it means to me, and a couple of other artworks like this. So this is a goddess. So this is the Hindu deity of war, Kali, or Durga, as you like to call it, and it's got that intergalactic sort of feeling. She's the mother of the. She destroys, and then creation happens. So all of this has been sort of etched into into my sort of memory from a very young age. So everything's kind of playing up as I draw and go along. Not that I know a lot about the scriptures or anything religious for that matter. It's just what I've been fed on whilst growing up. And a couple of other artworks where the woman is sort of half veiled, and just having a look, and and a woman emerging from nature, from earth. So that's called Rooted, and I'll show you that one actually. It's called Rooted. I don't know if you can see it. Sorry, there's a big reflection here. And Rooted is basically we don't need to know and to clarify with nature that we need it more than it needs us, and the consequences of which we're already seeing in the form of this pandemic. So what I'm trying to say here is, through this artwork, I'm also trying to portray a message which kind of says that the earth, our nature, is also undergoing some kind of a repair, And during this time in quarantine, in isolation, wherever we are, whichever part of the world we are trying to find ways to connect with our inner self, our inner being. And through that, through being more sensitive, through understanding ourselves better, through taking care of ourselves better, we are also sort of becoming catalysts in the process of the healing, an overall healing of the planet, an overall healing of mankind. I don't know, there's some kind of healing that I feel is involved in this entire upheaval, whatever global upheaval we are witness to right now, in the form of governments falling in different parts of the world, in the form of pandemics, in the form of different uprisings and different sorts of things happening all over the world. It might look very negative, but there has to be something behind all of this. There has to be a meaning underpinning all of this. And so is that art that kind of channels through me, that tries to sort of resonate the same feeling. I somehow feel that my art, it may look dark to a couple of people, but it has a positive, hopeful message at the end of the day. And that's what I'm trying to achieve. That's what I'm trying to express. No matter how, how incapacitated we feel, how turbulent we feel inside, therapy and through art, and therapy through prayer, and therapy through being together in this as one entity is very, very short distance away. It basically means that we just need to connect better, and we are in it together. So all of my art has that message. It has that message effectively communicated, wherein I say that we're all a part of this microcosm of sorts, where we're connected with each other. It looks like a huge universe, but at the end of the day, we're all together. We're all in it together. And we have to go through this transformation. We have to go through this transition. We have to go through this metamorphosis of sorts. And the biggest example being the COVID mandala, because like I said, a lot of the patterning that I do in my artwork, it also signifies, so I take sections of my artwork, and it repeats, the pattern repeats itself. And that's a way of focusing my energies. That's a way of channeling myself to a particular piece of work for that particular duration. And that's exactly what I'm trying to achieve. I'm trying to get my energies, to get myself to focus better during this time. Everything that I'm doing in the form of art is what I want to do as a person, living in this humongous place in this universe, So that's what it is, really. Apart from that, most of my art is very spiritual, I would say, or it has a spiritual elements, sort of. When I say spiritual, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm talking about God here. It basically means spirits. It's basically your higher perspective. It's basically those energies. It's basically some kind of frequencies. It's basically some kind of vibrations. I'm talking in terms of energy, frequencies, vibrations, and all of that, because that's, I think, the common language that people might understand better. Because every time we say something which is slightly more godlike, it tends to, it tiptoes in that sort of religious territory, which is not my intention, even though you see me wearing an Om t-shirt. But that's the sound of the universe. It's got nothing to do with imposing a certain belief. It's just the resonance of it. It's just the science behind it. And the science behind it is that we are in it together. However you find comfort, whether it's through art, whether it's through meditation, whether it's through yoga, whether it's through making videos like these, whether it's through talking to people, whether it's through dancing, I don't know. Whatever is that medium, I think we all need to find that and connect with ourselves better. And that's that, really. And I think that really makes you a sensitive person. It makes you sort of an empath. It enhances your qualities of being an empath. So obviously there's more empathy, and when there is more empathy, there is more understanding. When there is more understanding, there is more exchange of energies and more generosity that flows in the universe. And by the law of nature, if everything goes like that, the ripples, the effects of it will obviously come back many-fold and in many, many positive ways. And that's my message to the world. Thank you.
Pandemic TeeVee.